to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast, coming to you from the Redraft Studios with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Welcome into this Friday episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. It's always great to be here, to be with you, the Foot Clan.
Our closest friends.
To get ready for Week 8, the rest of Week 8. We had the start of Week 8 last night. I'm going to share a story with you. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, if we were going to jump into the recap, but if you have a quick story.
No, I have a quick story. Sometimes we share these, hashtag DadLife.
Oh, yeah, we got one of those?
In this case, DadLife
Nice.
and MattLife were very similar, speaking to Matt Moore.
Okay. Oh, okay.
It's
like, is this a Matlock reference?
I was going with a floor mat.
Just follow along on this story. The other day I was in the Target, right?
Oh, yes.
In the old Target, buying things that you buy at a Target,
Did you pay respects to the dog?
How do you pay respects to the dog?
There's always that Target dog.
What, do you pet it?
Yeah, you go sit
All
by
right,
it. That's the dad's spot.
You're distracting me.
Sorry.
I had, whatever you buy at Target in my cart, probably like a spatula and some deodorant and
20 other things.
20 other things.
Yeah.
I hit the cereal aisle. Thought to myself, you know what? I'm a big boy.
Grown man.
I can get what I want. So I decided to do a little, treatsy. Get myself some Cocoa Pebbles. Okay? Really looking forward to bringing some Cocoa Pebbles home. Eating some Cocoa Pebbles. Put them in the cart. This is like 2 days ago. So this morning, today's the day, man. I mean, I don't always eat breakfast. I don't always have time coming in here to do the show. I go in there. It's time for some Cocoa Pebbles.
You're about to get your Fred on, right?
Yeah, get my Fred on. And, they've already been entirely eaten. The whole box of Cocoa Pebbles has been eaten by my children. Then.
Delicious.
So at this point, I've got disappointment going on. But I'm going to push through. I see a box of Life in there. I can get with the Life.
Oh.
Okay. Pick up the Life. No, everything's good, Mike. Fill up my bowl. Head over to the old.
Oh, there's no milk.
Yeah. Well, they drank all the milk, but they put the container back.
Oh, that's the worst.
There was a thimble full. So basically.
Did you pour the last little thimbleful on your cereal?
Yes, I did.
Eat that.
But then Life cereal absorbs the milk so well. Yeah. There was no milk. And so that's dad life. I sat there at my kitchen table by myself with dry cereal in a bowl trying to figure out what to do. And the disappointment, the eating of dry cereal, that had to have been a parallel to what it was like to be a Dolphins fan or to watch Matt Moore. I mean, you've got the reach, right? It was a reach to play Matt Moore.
Right.
I reached for the container, and the container was empty.
Yeah.
And that's what happened last night. It was so empty. I posted this morning how bad Matt Moore played, and I got a reply saying it was the offensive line.
They were bad.
The offensive line was atrocious.
To be fair.
You know what you don't hear? When it was Ryan Tannehill, when it was Jay Cutler, it wasn't the offensive line.
Right.
It was the bad quarterback.
That's fair. Now, I know he only threw for 172 yards, but he did throw 2 touchdowns.
Yes, he did. To Ravens.
Oh, yeah.
See, the way I handled this game
that's not good.
Was Jay Ajayi was my start of the week. And, no, I mean, he had that 20-yard run, and I turned it off. Did something terrible happen after that?
Yeah, no, you're golden.
I mean.
Had a 20-yard run, ended 13 for 23.
No, he had a 20-yard run. I turned the game off.
Yeah, because
he's got to have 200 yards.
Do you play in a fantasy league where it counts the points only during the times you watch?
Yes, it's like the tree. If it falls in the forest, or if I'm not watching, those are the only points that count.
Jokes aside, let's reflect on last night.
Oh, man.
The Ravens came out. They shut out the Dolphins. Anybody who didn't want Cutler back now wants Cutler back. You can say what you want about the offensive line. This was, I said it yesterday, this is the time. Jay Ajayi panic alarm. There's a problem.
I think you're wrong, though, Jason. I think that Jay Cutler was actually the saddest Dolphin because now he's like, they're going to make me play again.
Yeah,
but yes, Jay Ajayi panic alarm.
I'm going to – I mean, you're in full panic mode. If you can't look, the Baltimore defense is good. And we've been propping the Baltimore defense up for a long time now as a very difficult defense to play against, but not so much the run game.
This year.
Yeah, this year it's been the passing game, the unbelievable corners there.
Brandon Williams, though.
Yeah, that was the thing, though, is Brandon Williams was back last week against the Vikings, and it didn't seem to make a difference. So it was, well, okay, that's why I felt confident in Jay Ajayi, and Williams apparently just needed one more game to warm up.
There was nobody that you were happy with whatsoever on the Miami side from a fantasy perspective.
I think what did Stills finish
Stills
at?
was like 5 fantasy points. He
was
like 3 for 40 or
5
something.
for 65, but
Okay.
what you're expecting out of Stills, you're playing him as a wide receiver 3.
Yeah, maybe you don't. You're not having the dry cereal moment with Kenny Stills.
Landry was a huge disappointment.
Massive.
Ajayi was a huge disappointment.
Yeah. So, I mean,
on the other side of the ball, you had a true breakout performance from a guy that I think you're going to be able to trust in Alex Collins.
As a running back,
2. I think, he's going to be available in a lot of leagues still, even though he's been getting some work. I know he's not available in any of my leagues.
Because you own him?
I own him on a lot of them. But, if he's out there, you got to check for him. The extra fumble. I mean, his issue, he's looked great. Tony Romo said a million times about how he's leading the league in yards per carry.
They did say that a lot.
Yes, they did. And the reality is he has looked good this whole year for Baltimore. The problem was he fumbled, and Harbaugh was not having that.
Well, because he already had a historical fumble problem.
Right, and so he was worried about that. And now Buck Allen at the end of the game fumbled the ball, and I just think that solidifies, hey, if I'm that coaching staff, it is very difficult now to say Buck Allen should be our starter and Alex Collins the backup. Alex Collins put the Baltimore Ravens on his back before that game was known if it was out of control and said, I'm going to run for 5 or 6 yards every single time you give me the opportunity.
Yeah, I will take the opinion that I think Alex Collins is startable. I don't think that he offers them the same things that Buck Allen offers them. And if you look at the carries last night, it was 18-17. Collins was 18 for 113 and, dominated, obviously. But Buck Allen offers them the passing game flexibility. I think both will be involved. And they kind of found a little bit of an identity last night that they hadn't had all year. Joe Flacco got knocked out of the game. Jeremy Maclin targeted 5 times, did have a touchdown on a nice pass by Joe Flacco before Mallett left the game.
Before Flacco left the game.
Sorry, before Flacco
entered
left
the game?
Yeah, so it was nice to see that from Maclin. He may be somebody you can look at. You had the Ben Watson touchdown, and honestly, I don't want to talk about that game anymore.
Let's say just quickly for the running back position for Baltimore. I mean, Terrence West has been out with injury. Do you see, Jason, because you're the Alex Collins supporter now, it appears. When Terrence West is back, you don't see him just right back in it in making this a 3-headed monster?
He'll be involved. But he was. I mean, we've seen Baltimore this year with 3 players at the running back position getting enough volume. They want to be a running team. But what my point is that Alex Collins has earned the start, the first man up, and I think he's going to retain that. And it's just like for the New York Jets. Matt Forte is a playable asset because he's the first man up in the 3-headed monster. And that's what I believe Alex Collins will be.
It's pretty neat to see him break out.
Yeah,
and
I mean, he looked fantastic.
This must be the place to do it.
Baltimore?
I mean, you go to Baltimore, Terrence West, he was the old busted.
Justin Forsett.
Forsett, yeah.
So that's what they wanted to do for years. They hadn't been able to do it for years. It is Friday, which means
Footclan Friday.
Every Friday here on the show, we reward one of our supporters from jointhefoot.com, our fantasy football community, with a $40 gift card to shopballers.com. And today's winner is
come on over.
Charles Clover.
Yeah, I set you up.
Yeah, you did. Thanks. Charles Clover, you win a $40 gift card to shopballers.com. Thanks to everybody who supports us at jointhefoot.com. You can check out premium projections and our exclusive community and a bunch of other perks and extra show over at jointhefoot.com. Also a reminder, the DFS podcast is up.
You're darn right it's
Today's episode is up, so that is the Fantasy Footballers DFS podcast on iTunes. You can check that out. It's a once-a-week podcast for those of you who play FanDuel, Draft, or DraftKings. And how was the episode, Mike? I haven't listened to it yet.
Oh, it is fantastic.
That's good.
Fantastic. Chris Meany, you know that name if you've listened to the show for a while. He was our DFS spot every Friday. We said, man, you're so good. We got to get you on a whole show.
Yeah.
So he's bringing absolute fire this weekend.
Good deal. And a last reminder here before the weekend, FootClanGiveaway.com, the signed T.Y. Hilton and Devontae Adams jerseys. We're giving those away because we like to. And it's Friday. There's not a lot of news, so we're going to go right into In and Out.
What's it going to be, McFly? Are you in or out?
All right, rundown on the injury situation. Sam Bradford,
Out.
running backs, Matt Forte.
He'll be in.
In.
Pro-size?
Out always. I mean,
Man,
the guy is he's made of peanut brittle.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. CJ, but I'm going
Tasty but disappointing.
out. Yeah, that's a
peanut
very
brittle.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I love peanut brittle though.
Yeah.
Does that mean I have to love CJ Pro-size?
When he's on the field, you do.
Yeah, he's good, but
You
out.
just have to eat him.
Yep. Out. He's out.
Charkandrick West?
Yeah,
he's
he
in.
he had the concussion, expected to play.
Yeah, not a lot of running backs, quarterbacks in that list.
You
Wide
know, this
receivers.
has been a pretty good week for injuries.
There's also a lot of teams on bye.
Right, so you have 6 less teams to
Yeah.
weigh in on.
Heal up.
Michael Thomas?
Practice in full. He should be in.
Yeah,
Stephon Diggs?
he's been practicing. I think he's back.
I'm gonna lean in. Yeah.
Big storyline. Golden Tate, we expected no way would we see him again. He's a tough
2
guy.
to 4 weeks.
This would be week 2
No, this would
from
be
the injury.
He had the bye last
Yeah,
week.
he had
Yes,
the bye last
okay.
week. So this would be 2 weeks
Sure.
out. So he fits the timeline. Not expected to play. That's what we heard on Wednesday. Then all signs point to him playing on Thursday. Where are you leaning?
I still got to lean out.
I
but
lean out as well, even though the news is saying in.
Yeah,
If he plays,
Yeah, that's a good question. And my dynasty team needs to know, Jason. If he's in, do you play him?
I think I do.
All right, good.
I would not.
I'm putting him. Jason already told me to put him in.
Okay,
it's too
there you
late.
go.
Oh, that's a Sunday night game too.
Sunday night.
Steelers.
Oh, that's
Give
yeah.
us the Steelers.
Thank you,
What if-
Brooks.
What
Because
if you
it's
picked yourself up a little smooth route, Skinny
Insurance?
G, just in case, some insurance, Brooks?
Well, he's further down the list, and you'll see he hasn't been running them smooth routes the last couple of days in practice.
Oh,
all right.
yeah, because he practiced Wednesday, but not Thursday or Friday.
yeah,
all right.
yeah.
Marvin Jones,
Yeah, you need.
TJ Jones.
So
Theoretic.
if you're in a redraft, yeah, maybe Theoretic is out there.
Because you got a flex, maybe you go Theo.
Other than that,
Yes, Theo would be the answer, but if you can't get Theo or Marvin Jones,
Then
then
you
I
can't
say
play
you,
him.
you can't rely on Golden
Yeah.
Tate because he will be more of a game time decision. So you got to put someone else in your lineup. Leave Golden Tate on the bench.
Emmanuel Sanders,
going out.
Yeah, out.
Robbie Anderson,
Full practice on Thursday, so I expect him to play.
Danny Mendola. What's the latest?
If he's on the injury report, he's out. That's
I
the
think
latest.
on the Footcast yesterday we determined that there's a new rule.
we had to amend because there's Rule 80-11, which is if Julian Edelman is out, Amendola looks like a pretty good play. He's not come through the last few weeks, but now we had to add a sub clause that says if he shows up on the injury report that he will be out.
That's Rule 80 IR.
-11 IR.
There you go.
Exhibit A.
The moral of the story is Danny Amendola is always hurt, and if he is hurt,
he's dealing with a hyperextended knee. We'll see.
Willie Snead doesn't matter if he's active.
The Willie Snead story is very confusing.
I do not have a need for Snead.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I think he's going to be out.
I think he plays,
do
but
you?
I'm not going to play him. I think Chicago's a good defense, and I want to wait and see him involved
Right.
before I go. He should be involved
Sure.
for no reason due to empirical evidence whatsoever that he will be.
So Juju Smith-Schuster.
He's back practicing.
Yeah, he's in.
Okay. And he could be a very sneaky play.
He could
Am I-
be.
am I right?
We'll see.
Definitely.
We'll see.
He tweeted
With Martavis
something.
Bryant out.
Did you see his tweet?
His Twitter look.
His Twitter
Twitter game
No, I'm
is
talking
this-
about Juju.
Yeah.
Juju's Twitter game is great.
Yeah, it's pretty strong.
He said, everybody loves me now, but these same people won't start me in fantasy on Sunday. Hashtag fake love.
Oh, man.
Oh, I heard this interview. Sorry, this is a little off the beaten path here, but I heard an interview with Aaron Jones, running back from the Green Bay Packers, and he was talking about fantasy football because he plays. And he drafted himself later on, and he was just talking about how it was exciting to see his ownership going up after the breakout. So it was,
they're watching.
Yeah,
That's really funny. We got to get him on the show.
You're like, man, good for you, Aaron Jones. Just embrace the game.
We should reach out, get Aaron Jones.
I
on
was
the
thinking
show.
about that last night, about the fact that as new players come into the league year after year after year, the newer generation, where fantasy football is part of loving
they already
football,
play. Yeah,
they all play.
That's actually a really good point.
And a decade from now, everybody in the NFL will, be much more aware of and
You think Carson Wentz walks in and says, "Hey, Tom Brady, you were my first fantasy quarterback."
something like that.
That's funny. All right, forecast time.
Fantasy Forecast.
How you doing, Brooks? How's the judge today?
Judge is terrific.
Oh, terrific.
You can tell you had that slight inflection in the monotone voice.
That's how you know. I'm
Judge
having
is
a
terrific
great
today.
day. Yep.
Great day.
I am the law.
All right, the 49ers take on the Eagles. The Eagles, the heaviest favorites of any game this week, 13-point favorites at home, 46.5-point over-under. Chance of light rain in this game. Not going to matter. Carson Wentz, light him up.
Absolutely.
My number one quarterback on the week. The 49ers, they're real bad. 29th against the run, 25th against the pass. That's part of why Jason loves LeGarrette Blount as a start of the week this week.
Yeah, there's a few things in fantasy football that are much more predictable and or metrics that tend to yield massive success for running backs when you are a large favorite at home. Usually that grinding running back has a big game. At least it's a little bit more predictive. That's why I love LeGarrette Blount this week for sure.
They're allowing – the 49ers defense are allowing over one. Like over one, as in 1.1, a full rushing touchdown every game.
Which just means Wendell Smallwood will go off.
I'm with you, Jason. I think that Blount can have a very solid game.
Would you rather start Alshon Jeffrey or Nelson Aguilar?
Alshon Jeffrey. If you look at the first 7 weeks of the season, Alshon Jeffrey's cornerback matchup has been
rough.
I think like the second most difficult in the league. It's unbelievably difficult. San Francisco does not have anybody that is going to shut down Alshon Jeffrey.
I understand that argument, but
Nelson Aguilar for me.
It's the same argument that's been made for the past 2 weeks. Like the way his year began, I expected an emergence beyond the first 5 weeks. Now we're saying that same thing in week 7. So I've got the start of the week, stay in the flames with Aguilar. I just haven't seen anything that makes me go, okay, the back-to-back passes down the sideline. Used to see that from him when he had Cutler. I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for that to happen.
I think both are great plays this week. If I have Aguilar, if I have Alshon Jeffrey, I'm lining both of them up.
Pierre Garçon is wide receiver what this week?
2 to 3. I still think you can start him, especially with game script with them expected to be trailing.
Yeah, he's closer to a 3 to me.
That's
solely
why
because
2-3?
C.J. Beathard, rookie quarterback on the road against a great pass rush, is going to be difficult to capitalize on Pierre Garçon's talent. He will be involved. He's the clear number 1 target, and Pierre Garçon is great.
No team has a worse time of possession in the NFL than the San Francisco 49ers. They average 26 minutes of possession per game, the lowest in the league. It's even worse on the road by 2 minutes. So not a lot of opportunity there, and Beathard is really slowing the offense down.
Yeah, and Carlos Hyde, you would still play him.
He's matchup.
The matchup sucks, but
it doesn't matter. I agree. The matchup sucks. The Eagles' run defense just been legit. Carlos Hyde is. It's going to be rare that you have enough running backs on your roster that you can say, okay, I'm going to bench Carlos Hyde.
Yeah, he's been double digits every week, but the Indianapolis game, where wasn't he banged up in that game? So
Yeah.
you kind of have a baseline of utility there. Something they need to lean on him just to protect Beathard, which means even if they're down in this game, they'll probably still be going to Hyde to take the pressure off. Any other storylines from that game? Zach Ertz, you're starting him. Would you take a chance on Smallwood? I mean, is he a flex play?
I've got him in my flex right now.
I guess. And
Then yes, I guess.
Yes.
If he's in your flex.
What about George Kittle's and Bits?
No.
Nope.
No.
He's out this week.
Yeah, I mean, I just find a better option with a better scenario
Agreed.
on a team that has the ball more.
Certainly. So before we move on to the next matchup, I want to thank today's sponsor, Pristine Auction. This is where we go for all our authentic signatures of our sports heroes.
I just won.
Yeah, you went double DJ yesterday.
I went double DJ. I won 2 David Johnson auctions yesterday on Pristine Auction. Signed David Johnson jerseys for an upcoming charity, and I'll go ahead. I'll tell you what I won the jerseys. $65.
It's unbelievable.
$70.
Oh, 65 and 70?
For a signed David Johnson jersey. That is, I love it, man.
It's fantastic.
And it's so fun. I said, hey, pro tip for everybody, because I've been, hot
You better not be giving away
my.
my pro tip.
I'm giving it away, man.
This is not good
Set
for us.
Everyone's shaking their head. No, don't do it. Set an alarm for 7:50.
Well,
on
it's
your phone.
7:50 for us.
Yes, well,
10 minutes before the auctions
7:50
end,
Pacific right now. 10 minutes before the auctions end, and go in there, and you can find something and steal things left, right, and center. It's amazing.
They have new stuff every single day, from the new players, the new stars, to I just saw Thurman Thomas, Buffalo Bills running back. I mean,
Yeah.
they got new stuff on here every single day. Pristine Auction, Pristine, auction.com. You make a completely free account, and when you do that, let them know that the Fantasy Footballers sent you.
Yeah.
Also want to thank today's sponsor, a new one. I want to introduce you to HelloFresh. HelloFresh is a meal kit delivery service that shops, plans, and delivers your favorite step-by-step recipes and pre-measured ingredients. Look, I've been trying HelloFresh lately. Not sure why I waited so long to get in on HelloFresh. I love eating. It's one of my favorite hobbies.
Do it every day.
And they take care of business. All their ingredients are delivered right to your door in recyclable, insulated packaging, pre-measured. They make it easy to get your meal going. They offer a wide variety of chef-curated recipes that change weekly, including the classic plan. That comes with a wide variety of meat and fish, seasonal produce. You got a veggie plan. You got a family plan for quick and easy family meals. Got to love that. And you can choose the delivery day that works best for your schedule. You can even pause your account. I like the convenience of that type of thing. And they make it so easy to cook delicious, balanced dinners for less than $10 a meal. No more time-consuming meal planning and grocery shopping. This is the new way people eat, by the way. It's the way I like to eat. And you don't have to spend the money on takeout. Get a nice, healthy, home-cooked meal. Right now, you can get $30 off your first week if you want to try it out with me. $30 off your first week of HelloFresh. Visit HelloFresh.com. Enter the promo code Footballers30. That's very easy.
Footballers 30.
All right, Panthers, Bucks. Interesting game because we've seen a kind of a tale of two Panthers this year. They've looked dominant at times, and they've looked confusingly inept at times.
They look like kitty cats.
Yeah, and the Buccaneers, they're at home, 45.5-point over-under. They're 2-point favorites at home. Cam Newton, where's your confidence level? I know it's been like a Richter scale here.
Yeah.
You know, you go all over the map.
Yeah, it really is. But the matchup says he should be a top 10 quarterback once again against the Buccaneers, who are 30th against the pass. It's been tough for Tampa Bay's defense, and that's why you're seeing these Jameis Winston 300-yard games on the reg for Jameis.
Yeah, so on the Jameis side, you're comfortable playing him against Panthers fourth-ranked run D, fourth-ranked pass D?
The matchup is tough for Winston, but I think you would still be comfortable starting him.
All right, let's talk running backs. Christian McCaffrey's in the top 10 in total receptions this year, on pace for 100. Jonathan Stewart, a little banged up, probably going to be out there, but hasn't been efficient or effective. How do you feel about Christian McCaffrey? Are you the happy, sad test? We talked about it yesterday. Are you happy or sad with Christian McCaffrey?
Depends on my league scoring format. If I am in a PPR,
very happy.
Very happy. If you are in a standard, you're
little sad.
You've probably cut him. Honestly, look, the yardage is just not there. He has 2 touchdowns in the past 3 weeks, but total yardage wise, it's it's just not there. 46,
especially his rushing yardage. I
but
mean,
that's no. I'm combining last week 46 yards, the week before that 62 yards, then 38 yards. I mean, he had touchdowns in 2 of those weeks, but the yardage is not there. Christian McCaffrey is a PPR specialist right now.
yeah, the last 2 weeks.
He's Danny Woodhead.
Yes, exactly.
Right. And the last 2 weeks, he's had 17 receptions. So when you've got a guy with that kind of utilization, you have to stick with it, especially in this matchup. I absolutely play him. But yes, that's 17 points that exist in PPR and don't exist in standard. So he is definitely scoring dependent.
Greg Olsen could return to practice next week. And so we could have Greg Olsen coming back soon. Do you have any concerns for Christian McCaffrey's target share once Greg Olsen is back?
No, not really. I mean, maybe his targets go down. Maybe he loses a reception or 2 a game. But
that's a big deal for him.
A little bit. But my point is Greg Olsen helps the offense. He helps the run blocking. He helps the lanes that open up on screens where Christian McCaffrey can get downfield. So whatever he loses, I think he makes up for. So I'm not worried about the long-term prospect of Christian McCaffrey due to Greg Olsen.
Kelvin Benjamin is Jason's start of the week this week at the wide receiver position against this Buccaneers defense that ranks 30th against the pass. On the other side, you're starting Mike Evans, obviously Doug Martin. You roll him out there if you've been playing him. Deshaun Jackson's been pretty interesting this year. He seems good for the yardage totals have been okay. He's been double digits, I think, 4 of the past 5 weeks. And the Bucs throw the ball 63% of the time. That's the most in the NFL.
Yeah, they don't want to, but
they have to.
They're forced to right now. Djax,
their defense puts them in a position where they have to.
Djax has been playing very well. I mean, his box score does not reflect how well he has been playing. I mean, he has been torching people. If Winston could just improve that accuracy slightly, Djax would have at least 3 more touchdowns right now. I mean, he's been playing great.
They still have yet to connect, I believe, on any type of bomb. He has a screen, or not a screen, he has a slant touchdown from Fitzpatrick, but he's been open. And we've
say, meanwhile, at least once a week, I see Djax streaking down the field wide open.
And usually getting that target is just off.
It's just
like a cat.
Him.
I mean, just like a cat down the sideline.
The problem is
put that from the cat from last night.
Yeah.
Oh man, that cat was nibble.
That was
nibbly
the best part of the game.
Okay, go on.
Yes, I said nibble. I think.
I think you said nibble. That's what I was getting at.
I updated to nimbly bimbly.
Yeah, no, nimbly bimbly. Yeah. Welcome to.
So Djax has
Cat
been
from
all
Harry
right.
Potter.
Djax has been all right with the missed targets from Jameis Winston.
They will, and they will hit eventually.
Why do we believe that?
Because it's the law of inevitability. If you're open down the field and Jameis Winston's been able to connect with guys like Mike Evans, I think eventually you're going to see that big play happen.
Yeah.
And look, Deshaun Jackson remains one of the players I hate playing against in fantasy football because I'm always waiting for one play to define the week. I mean, a couple weeks ago, Golden Tate caught 1 deep pass with 15 fantasy points. I just think it's an interesting play. I'm not necessarily like, you might have a better option as a wide receiver too this week.
No, I mean he's a fair play. He can always boom. And the matchup, you shouldn't be scared too much by the Carolina matchup. If you look at points given up against the wide receivers against that position, you might think, the Carolina's pretty good. I think they're ranked, top 10. But that's really skewed by last week's wide receiver performance of
the Bears.
1 reception for 8 yards. That was not Carolina's doing. That was Chicago's doing. 1 reception for 8 yards from the wide receiver position.
They shut him down.
It's going to
got to get yourself an Inman.
Skew some numbers.
Cameron Braid is an every week play. Has O.J. Howard worked his way into starter consideration?
No, he's flyer consideration.
If I had Zach Miller, I'd start O.J. Howard. Let's put it that way.
Really?
Yeah, I would.
Well, Zach Miller's getting
when
2 receptions a game max.
But here's the deal. I mean, O.J. Howard.
But he's getting started week to week. I mean, a lot of the time. So
O.J. Howard has 2 very good games and 4 awful fantasy games.
Yeah,
awful.
That's pretty similar to – I mean, what you're seeing from Zach Miller is – he had 2 games that should have been awful.
I don't like taking that kind of an analytical approach on a rookie. I've said that before. when you look and you just globally say, okay, he's had 2 good games and 4 bad games, a player like O.J. Howard, he's being worked into a system as a rookie. He had another way to put it is he had 1 more reception in last game that he's had the entire season.
Sure.
So, I mean, does that represent a level up? We don't know that yet. He's certainly worth grabbing and keeping an eye on.
That's why is he worth a start this week?
Right. And that's only in a tough situation. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
Yeah, at least he has the upside.
I'd play Jack Doyle over him.
Oh, for sure.
So
despite the baby hands.
Regardless. I'd like to see – now I'm picturing baby hands Jack Doyle with really big gloves, like really big catching gloves.
Oh, where the fingertips
so they're folding over because they don't make them small enough. So they're kind of like flapping.
Just his fingers look like they're flapping in the
wind. Yeah. And he's a little bit self-conscious, so he wears the bigger gloves.
Pulls them as tight as he can. They're up the wrist.
Yeah, maybe he's blowing them up.
Oh.
The Texans take on the Seahawks.
Meanwhile, his hand is probably larger than my face.
Right, I know. I was thinking, do they measure tight ends' hands at the combines? Because he's probably got like a watermelon-sized hand.
But they're weaker than baby hands, so it doesn't matter.
It's a grip issue.
They're doll hands.
The Texans take on the Seahawks, guys. Did you know that? They take them on.
I know it now.
Seahawks are 5.5-point favorites at home in this matchup.
Yep.
I think that is a tip of the cap from Vegas to Houston and how they've played this year. I'm a little surprised that the line's that low. I mean,
you think that's low?
I completely agree 100%
really?
with everything
I think
Andy
it's
just
a
said.
little bit low for a Seattle matchup. I'd be curious to see what the average line is for their home games over the last year. 45.5-point over-under. I'm going to tell you something I did. I swapped Drew Brees for Deshaun Watson in our listener league this morning. I'm playing Deshaun Watson. I benched Drew Brees.
Okay.
I don't.
Is Drew Brees on a bye week and I missed it?
He plays the Chicago Bears
at home.
At home. And I am taking Deshaun Watson.
There must be a water bet here.
Head to head?
Water bet.
He didn't even push back for
I realize it is unconventional, but let me tell you why I did it. I did it because I think the floor for Deshaun Watson in any and all matchups is incredibly high. If you look at – he had a game. Deshaun Watson had a game in Cincinnati this year where he threw for 0 touchdowns and he threw for 125 passing yards. He put up 18 fantasy points in that game.
Yeah.
He followed it with 24, 41, 46, and 30. His efficiency, the trust that they're putting into him, I just think that the floor is incredibly high, and the upside is incredibly high. His rushing yardage just raises that baseline. I want the ceiling. I think the Bears are a good defense. It has a lot to do with Brees as much as it does with Watson. I'm not saying you go – I'm just saying that, look, you're in a position now where you have to make decisions like this with Deshaun Watson. What number does he have to put up, Jason, for you to make him an every week start automatically this week? So let's say this week he goes out and he puts up a what? If he puts up 18 just like that other game, does that make him an auto start?
No, I mean I would say he's got to be greater than 20 to be an auto start every week matchup proof guy.
Yeah, I mean I need to see 200 yards, 200 to 250 and 2 touchdowns. So whatever I'm with Jason.
Why do you need to see that?
Because I know you listed
it's not a fantasy point.
I know you listed off the Bengals game, but to equate the floor to that one really broken play where the defense they gave up
for 50 yards.
They gave up
rushing
on that play. You could even see Deshaun Watson, who was shocked. He was surprised that he was still running, and I think that the Deshaun Watson people are going to be very sad at the end of this weekend.
And we water betted it, so we'll find out. Russell Wilson, you're starting him at home, obviously, in this matchup. Lamar Miller, he's been great. He's getting a start. DeAndre Hopkins, might be some hesitation. He's a top 5 wide receiver. You can't bench the near target leader, in my opinion.
No, I don't think you can bench him either.
Would you play Crabtree over Hopkins? I wouldn't.
No, I'd probably still go with Hopkins. They both have tough matchups, but I mean, Hopkins against the Legion of Boom. He's the type of receiver that they can shut down. So we will see.
Will Fuller. Everybody wants to start him. I've seen more insane Will Fuller trades this past week than any other trade I've seen. People are going out there and they're trading. They're basically using Will Fuller the way we would tell you to use him, which is throw Will Fuller in with like a quarterback and go get a great wide receiver. I'm seeing this happen. I hope you're not buying in. I mean, he's on 60 touchdown pace or whatever that is. So, look, is this the week the shoe drops for Will Fuller?
Yeah.
Or are you in the flames?
More than likely, but like I was saying about Hopkins, where he's the way that he plays wide receiver, the Seahawks can be beat by speed, because if they're trying to press and grab you and Will Fuller happens to shake free on one play, then it could be another 50-yard touchdown.
I love Doug Baldwin. He's going to come on in the second half. He had a great game last week, 10 receptions. Gun to your head.
Uh-oh.
Which running back do you start from the Seattle Seahawks this week?
Man.
I'm going to take Eddie Lacy and hope he falls into the end zone.
Yeah, I'm going to go Lacy as well.
Yeah, Lacy had 11 carries. They both,
I think they were
Lacy and
even.
Rawls both had 11 carries last week, but Lacy has actually, to me, looked like a decent running back. Rawls has not ever looked the same as he did before the ankle injury. I've seen nothing from him to make me a believer, so I would take Lacy as well.
What about the play where he thought he scored a touchdown, even though everyone else on the field knew there was a penalty? That was pretty fun.
The Dallas Cowboys take on the Washington Redskins this week, a 50-point over-under in my...
Andy's almost upset of the week.
All right, I don't think the gap between these two teams is as big as people perceive. Vegas has the Redskins 2-point underdogs at home. So I'm going to take the Redskins in this one.
Really?
Josh Norman's expected to be back. That's going to make a difference. They have a really good front, the defensive front for the Redskins. The ability to slow down that running game and bringing Josh Norman back into the fold, who traditionally shuts Dez Bryant down.
Now, to be fair, last year, Dez Bryant against Washington, week 2, over 100 yards, and then he played them again in week 11 or so, and he was 5 for 72.
Yeah, that's not a bad game.
So do not be scared to start Dez Bryant. I have some concern for Josh Norman, bringing the numbers down for Dez, but
you have a similar situation as the Seattle game.
You still play him.
Where you're starting DeAndre Hopkins, you're starting Dez Bryant. They're both in the top 5 in targets. The thing I'm interested in is pretty much everybody in this game, in the sense that it's a 50-point over-under. You're starting Dak. He's been on fire from a point-per-game perspective. He's one of the best in the league. You're not sitting Zeke. You're not sitting Dez. I love Jason Witten. Washington can't cover the tight end. That's the opportunity there. So those 4 players are in. What's your confidence level, Jason, Mike, on Rob Kelly this week? Second week back from the injury. Hopefully a game flow that's more conducive to his usage. But do we like Rob Kelly?
I like Rob Kelly. I think that he's going he's going up against a lesser of the middle of the pack rushing defense. Dallas does not scare me with their rush defense. They're at home, and what you saw last week from Rob Kelly in his first week back against the best run defense in the league was a poor performance. So I think a lot of people are going to bench Rob Kelly this week, and I think that's a mistake. I expect Rob Kelly to get well over 15 carries, and if the over-under is true and there's 50 points scored, there's probably going to be opportunities in the red zone that Rob Kelly will get. So Rob Kelly hasn't scored a touchdown this year so far. I think this is the week that he breaks that.
Rob Kelly has played 2 full healthy games this year.
Right.
Those games were both against the Eagles. So his numbers look bad. I'm not as optimistic as Jason, but
you'd go Thompson over him.
Yeah, at this point, because Thompson's just so
I would go
involved.
Thompson over him as well, because the Dallas Cowboys offense is going to score on anyone. What you see as kind of Watson's ability to be matchup proof is what I think Dak will score on anybody. It doesn't matter who you are. And if Dak's going to score, and if Washington ends up down, then Chris Thompson will be used. I hope, Andy, that you're right in your almost upset of the week. If Washington is ahead, that bodes well for Rob Kelly. But Chris Thompson's just been too electric right now, and his utilization's been really well done by Washington.
Right.
I know fantasy owners wish they would just give him the massive workload, but then you would get 1 week out of him because he would be injured. So
Right.
I think they're doing it right with Chris Thompson.
Rule 86 is in full effect for me this particular week. We saw Jordan Reed have a Thanksgiving feast against the Cowboys last year. That was the game where he suffered the shoulder injury, yet still absolutely scorched the earth against the Dallas Cowboys. Speaking of hot, who's got the hot hand for the Washington pass catchers?
They're going to
Terrell Pryor or Josh Doxson?
Look, Jay Gruden wants to give Josh Doxson an opportunity to earn a #1 role in this offense. Jamison Crowder and Terrell Pryor seem to want to give Josh Doxson the opportunity to earn a role in this offense. And if you look at the passer rating,
They're good teammates.
the passer rating of Kirk Cousins when targeting Josh Doxson has been very good.
Especially in tight windows. Harmon, good friend of the show, Matt Harmon, had tweeted out one of those NFL next-gen stat numbers, and it was Kirk Cousins in tight windows at Josh Doxson. I mean, it's almost a perfect passer rating.
So every opportunity for Josh Doxson will be there. This is a game that I have Washington actually winning, or I guess I have to say almost winning due to my prediction.
Yes.
But I think Doxson will get the opportunity. If I had to take a flyer, I'm certainly taking it on him this week.
Yeah, I would rather have Doxson than Pryor. Doxson's gotten more and more involved as every week has gone on, and Pryor's gotten less and less involved.
Doxson.
So
Doxson.
if you were to take
We got Doxson here.
if you were to take Pryor,
Is that a Jurassic Park?
Dang it, Mike. How'd you know?
Because I'm the reference
I was
machine.
trying to get one over on you that,
Nope.
that the listeners would hear.
Oh, nope.
yeah.
Nope.
Nobody
I got one
cares.
over on you yesterday. I think you're making a mistake if you're still believing because of where Terrell Pryor was drafted in fantasy football that
We're past that.
Yeah, you've got to be able to move on. And we say this all the time. You don't win a championship at the draft. We're going to get things wrong. You win championships through the year by making the right start-sit decisions and the right it's so important to just change your mind when you're going to be wrong, we're going to be wrong, and the worst thing you could do and the worst thing we could do is just say, no, just keep waiting. It's going to happen.
Do you think Terrell Pryor may have slipped like an ADP list into Jay Gruden's desk? Like left it on his desk with
I don't
a
know
highlight.
if you've seen this, but people think I'm
Look
I'm
where
gonna
I
do
was.
more.
Look where I was drafted, Jay. Give me some snaps. All right, the Steelers. That's good advice, by the way. The Steelers take on the Detroit Lions in Detroit. The Lions are 3-point underdogs.
Yep.
And, that's about how I'd have it, too. 45.5-point over-under. Big Ben is a fantasy quarterback. He's off the radar a little bit. Lev Bell's been absolutely incredible. We don't have to discuss starting him or Antonio Brown. Juju Smith-Schuster, we talked about it earlier. He's going to play in this game. Martavis Bryant's going to be inactive. And I think Smith-Schuster – let's put it this way. Would you rather play Juju or Doxson?
Ooh. I'm going to go with Doxson.
Man, that's really tough.
It's very close.
It's close. You're in very similar situations. I think I lean Doxson as well. We've seen him involved
Take the home player.
in the red zone.
Yeah,
the home player.
It's
Higher
just,
over under according to Vegas.
Yeah, if you're going to fly.
Fly high.
Yeah, I mean, fly to the sun, right? that had worked for Icarus.
I was going to say it did not work for Icarus.
Why?
Yeah.
What happened at the end of that story?
Is that the J.J. story? Hey, as soon as Icarus took off, I turned away. I didn't watch the rest of it.
He got to the moon, right?
He got there, didn't he? He's still living on the sun.
What happened?
Oh, my goodness.
Living on the sun.
Yeah.
Yes, that's good advice.
That's how the myth goes.
That's staying in the flames.
That is. But the advice
bucket
I
of
think
lava.
was good there, Josh Doxson. Jesse James has not been targeted the last 2 weeks since Vance McDonald's been involved. You can kick him to the curb.
Yep.
Matt Stafford, Amir Abdullah, Theo Riddick, Golden Tate coming off the bye week.
It's going to be tough.
It's going to be real tough. The Steelers have just been smothering teams. That's the best way to put it. Because when you That's the perfect descriptor for both being a good defense and not letting the opposing offense ever have the ball. They've just been smothering offenses.
Le'Veon Bell has been killing clock.
He's as much a part of their defense as
Absolutely
the defense
he is. Absolutely. So it's going to be, difficult. Thankfully, Matt Stafford at home, the comeback kid, you could see some points happening at the end of this game. I do agree. Theo Riddick is a guy that's still on a lot of waivers right now.
You're gonna be okay there.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna pull through.
Some dry cereal this morning?
But no way. I would never.
I genuinely pause right here. I feel like I've reached the point as a father where I need a secret fridge.
I was gonna say that
you haven't got that yet.
Secret stash.
Your first mistake was putting the Cocoa Pebbles in the family pantry.
Right. You're 100% right. It's on me.
Don't look at the top of my closet, kids.
It's just
Ho-hos
cereals
and ding dongs. It's basically a Little Debbie aisle.
Yeah, and ants.
And a lot of
ants. For the record, I do not have any snacks in my closet, but I cannot promise that I won't going forward after such great discussion.
I was going to say, this is really opening your eyes.
So Theo Riddick, Jason.
Yeah, Theo Riddick has, look, he has not been that involved over the last several weeks. I mean, since week 2, he hasn't had more than 4 carries on the ground. But with the Golden Tate injury, with what we've seen from the offense and their struggles, Amir Abdullah, they gave him so much opportunity to get the job done. And he'll get still the first opportunity, but I think they have to go back to Theo Riddick. Which you kind of started to see right before the bye at New England. He had 5 receptions for 45 yards. Theo Riddick is a great pass-catching back. If you're in any kind of PPR league, I believe this is a week where if Pittsburgh is winning the game and killing the clock, you're going to have those 2-minute type of drives where Theo Riddick thrives, and you just get little dump off, another 8 yards, another 9 yards, and it's hard to find running backs right now on the waivers, and he's available in a good chunk of leagues.
So not Little Debbie, Little Dumpy?
Little Dumpy.
And
Little
speaking
Dumpy.
of changing your mind,
I
Jason.
think that would be Mike Tolbert, though. Sorry, go on.
Speaking of changing your mind, Eric Ebron.
Oh, that's Little Lumpy.
Oh.
Sorry.
Eric Ebron has not just
Don't
changed
even,
my mind.
Please do
He
not
has
bring up his name.
changed my heart, my soul.
Is it cold? Dark?
I would rather start Darren Fells than Eric Ebron. Eric Ebron has rightfully been given the bench.
Yeah. Monday Night Football, the Broncos, the Chiefs. Chiefs 7-point favorites at home in Arrowhead. I will take the Chiefs to cover in this game. Divisional matchup. I know that the over-under is 43 points. I just don't see a bounce-back game from Denver coming against this Chiefs defense. I know they haven't been good, but, it's a chicken or egg thing here, right?
Sure.
How bad has the Denver offense been? They just got shut out by a team that, the Chargers.
They're a solid defense.
We certainly believe that now. They're going to play Tom Brady this week. We'll find out a little bit more about them, but I just do not have confidence. I've been saying it for a long time. I don't have confidence in C.J. Anderson. I do not want to start him. I want to do anything in my power not to. Demaryius Thomas is the only player in this group that I really like this week because of the presumed deficit. Now, this is the NFL. The Broncos might win by 60. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen, but I like Demaryius Thomas.
Yeah,
that's the only player I want to play on that entire offense.
The Chiefs get beat by chunk plays. We saw Amari Cooper return.
Coop all over him.
Yeah, he certainly did. They're allowing a 14.5. Thank you. The Chiefs the defense. They are allowing 14.5 yards per completion. I mean, that's ridiculous. So I love Demaryius Thomas this week. We can't expect Emmanuel Sanders to play. Benny Fowler. Emergencies. Some teams are having that high alert. Is Benny Fowler worth a play?
After what he did last week, yes. Yes, he's worth the emergency play. If you're in a bye week, deep league, we have a 14-team listener league, you're in a pinch. I played Benny Fowler last week, and he got me
5 for 45.
5 for 45. I mean, yes, he's an emergency play. What you just said about their passing defense, what I think that they'll be able to do, the Chiefs will be able to do, that's all it comes down to. Now, maybe this is a hard-fought game. Maybe the Broncos' D is what keeps them in this game. But on the offensive side, are you still starting Alex Smith at home against Denver?
That's a $1 million question.
And would you play Smith at home against Denver over Watson on the road against Seattle?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
I would.
Yeah, just the home the home factor changes that for me. Trevor Siemian, you're not even considering it?
Trevor Siemian
I'm not going to consider it.
I'm just confirming.
Trevor
confirming
Siemian
for the podcast.
on my rankings he is the scariest rank I have because he is darn near dead last in my rankings. I've buried him, I think, without Emmanuel Sanders in Kansas City, and what we've seen over the last few weeks from him and his offensive line with all of a sudden the collapse of the running game, I have major doubts. Like I would not start Trevor Siemian at all, and he has had those games. And Demaryius Thomas and this Chiefs, the Chiefs against wide receivers, there are reasons to believe DT can get it done, and Trevor Siemian can be the benefactor of that. I just don't see it happening. The trends of, this is more film than analytics. The analytics kind of say Trevor Siemian should be okay because of what Kansas City's been giving up to the wide receivers. But, man, what I've seen from Trevor Siemian the last few games with my eyeballs is disgusting.
Now,
going to Arrowhead, I can't trust it.
DeMarcus Robinson for the Kansas City Chiefs, he's a wide receiver, if you haven't heard of him. He's starting to get some play now that Chris Conley is out.
Yeah, he looked good.
5 for 69 last week.
This isn't the matchup, though.
I was going to say, we're talking the emergency wide receivers in the bye weeks, Benny Fowler or DeMarcus Robinson.
Fowler for sure.
I would as well.
More established, better situation against the defense. You're starting Kelsey if he's your tight end. Kareem Hunt, the Broncos haven't allowed a rushing touchdown in 6 games. That's the best in the NFL right now. You might need to temper your Kareem Hunt expectations.
He'll still get you 100.
All right, guys, it is Friday, which means, once again, we're going to face off.
The Daily Dose, brought to you by Draft.
Now, last week, I'm happy to report that I wasn't last. Jason was last.
If you didn't see the picture, it was no Pazuki for Jason.
Yeah, and if you don't know what Pazuki is, first of all, shame on you. And
Yes.
second of all, it is a pizza cookie.
Yeah, I've never had a better pizza cookie. Andy, have you ever had a better pizza cookie?
No, I've certainly never had one
It looked really good.
Had gelato.
that I enjoyed so much. Yeah, Mike and I enjoyed it, and
Now,
Jason.
this week
I washed it down
Jason
with
had
Jason's
some
tears.
basil.
I did have some basil. It was very basily. So this week for our draft, we are doing the expert draft. Okay, we've made it super hard on ourselves because this is Bipocalypse.
Yeah.
You already have so many teams out of the running, and now what the expert draft does is it takes all the best players, or at least the top drafted players, and it removes them. So now we're going really deep on a bye week, and it looks like yours truly is on the clock.
Yeah, you got the number 1 pick, Jason.
Got the number 1 pick.
We each pick 5 players, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, and then 2 that can be a wide receiver or tight end from a pool that has been diminished.
Yeah. And
Who are you taking with number 1, mister?
look, I'm going to take a guy that is my start of the week. I'm surprised to see him here. It's Kelvin Benjamin at the wide receiver position. And, Andy, while you're looking through, let me just talk about some of the players that are out there.
No.
Okay.
I
No.
took Demarius Thomas
Ah, dang it.
with my first pick.
Mike's start of the week.
So, Mike,
Yeah.
you got back-to-back
I
picks
was really
here.
hoping he would slip through. So I'm gonna grab Andy's start of the week, Nelson Aguilar, and then I'm gonna look at a running back over here, which there's a few guys. It's pretty gross. It's not ideal. I'm gonna go with, even though the matchup is not the best against Cleveland's run defense, I'm gonna take Jerick McKinnon.
Oh, that's who I wanted to take right there, Mike. You stole him away from me. So now I have to make a tough decision at the running back position or to go with another wide receiver. One of the ways that you can strategize in draft is kind of look at what your opponents have taken, figuring
It's like a real draft.
I already know you guys don't like Deshaun Watson, so none of you are going to take him. So if I want to take him, I can. I'm taking Deshaun Jackson.
Oh.
So I'm going to go Deshaun Jackson along with
All right. Well, so I'm up
Demaryius
on the
Thomas.
clock with a back-to-back. I think Matt Forte, the leader.
It was
of the,
between Forte and McKinnon for me.
the leader of the head-to-head matchup there. And then, you know, I got a guy that I'm hoping gets back to me, and I think he might. So instead,
you're gonna gamble?
I'm going to gamble. I'm going to go, and I'm going to take the guy that I think has a better game than Nelson Aguilar in Alshon Jeffrey.
All right, I'm back on the clock. I'm going to draft the player that I think gives me a nice baseline and protects me against that last place finish. I'm going to take James White over Deion Lewis and follow up my wide receivers with James White.
Oh, man. All right. So I'm on the turn, so it does not matter what order I pick my players in.
Your last 2 picks, correct?
No.
No.
I'll have
you got
one
one
more.
I got you.
I'm going to take Devin Funchess against Tampa Bay.
I like it. He was almost my start of the week. I was trying to decide
Between him and Kelvin?
Him and Kelvin. I think the wide receivers will get it done against Tampa.
So that means I need to take a running back or a quarterback. I will not be – well, let me have a look at the quarterbacks just to make sure. Ooh, there appears to be one standout here.
You're doing a bad job of narrating, Mike.
I apologize because I'm trying to think at the same time. I'm going to take quarterback Tyrod Taylor because he was my favorite quarterback of that list.
I'm going to go with Robert Kelly. As
that was the one I wanted.
As my second running back.
The guy I said I hoped would get back to me.
All right,
that
Jason,
was
2
him.
quick picks for you, and then I got my final pick, and
2
Mike
quick
has his
picks.
final pick.
I need a quarterback and a running back. You are correct that you will get Deshaun Watson. I'm going to take Phillip Rivers.
Yep.
Against New England. Really like him. And then at the running back position, so I can go Deion Lewis or Latavius Murray. I could go a bunch of different ways. I am going to go surprising.
Oh, very
And I'm
nice.
going to take Wendell Smallwood against San Francisco.
All right, time for me to draft my quarterback. I'm not taking Deshaun Watson. Not with Andy Dalton against Indianapolis on the board.
Yeah.
So I took Andy Dalton there.
Wise move.
Finishing my team off. You guys pull your team up when you're done, and we'll go ahead and read them off.
I'm going to take the starting running back for the Patriots.
Deion Lewis?
Deion Lewis.
There you go.
Oh, does that hurt you inside when you with the
Nope,
Mike Gillislee
because
love?
it hurts a little bit, but like Jason said,
Got to change your
you got
mind.
to change your mind.
All right, Jason, your team.
My team, Phillip Rivers against New England. I got Matt Forte and Wendell Smallwood at running back, Kelvin Benjamin and Alshon Jeffrey at wide receiver.
I have.
Oh, that's so.
I have Dalton with James White and Robert Kelly, and Deshaun Jackson and Demaryius Thomas.
I have Tyrod Taylor, Jerick McKinnon, Deion Lewis, and I have the inverse of Jason.
Yeah.
Which I didn't even think of.
I've got Kelvin and Alshon.
I have Aguilar and Funchess.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
I like mine better.
All right, I got to lean on Andy Dalton, so pray for me. Wait, I just hit the waterbed button. That was supposed to be the outro button.
Oh.
It's Friday.
It's Friday.
It's Friday. Who cares?
Friday.
So what?
So what? Who cares?
Thanks for tuning in. Draft.com/ballers is how you can play along with us. A lot of fun every week. Jason, you're
Good
losing
luck.
again. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.